Before we begin, this audio is meant to be a story told to police that includes flashbacks to the moments. It is not intended to be a roleplay between the speaker and listener, but you can imagine yourself as a police officer in the interview if you so wish. With that being said, please enjoy. Hi there. Yes, I am the one reporting the forest stalking incident. Oh, that water's for me? Thank you. Okay. I know I have to talk, but I genuinely don't know where to start. Very beginning will work, I guess. So, I work in an office. I look at numbers all day and use calculators. I wanted something different. Not as in a job, just a vacation. The plain office walls and the even smaller cubicle I sat in all day started feeling crushingly claustrophobic. So I went on an overnight wildlife tour with some saved vacation days. I know nothing about the wildlife in the area, or really even wildlife in general. So I thought learning something other than numbers on paper and yellowed screens would be nice. Something other than payroll. Now, I want to preface all of this with none of this is the wildlife tour's fault, and I'm not looking to get them in trouble with you guys. I take full responsibility for my dumb actions that got me lost in the woods. Actions they stated to not do. Well, while it was dark out and everyone went to bed, I snuck out to look around. They specifically told us not to do this. But I wanted to feel the nature I was seeing. I don't get to see things like this. Trees, grass, sure, but vines, ferns, plants that curl up when you touch them? No, not in the city or trimmed trees around, and I just... doesn't matter. Obviously, I got lost from straying too far. I used the flashlight on my phone to see, and I lost the camp lights. They weren't that bright, just enough to see the outhouse that they had. I started wandering, trying to find my way back, and going the way I believed I had come from. Flashlight, turn off, off. There. Once I heard the rustling leaves, I panicked. Maybe it was a bear, something that could kill me. I crouched down and hid, but my flashlight would not turn off of my phone. I did manage to get my flashlight off, but it knew something was in the area, and maybe it was food. I thought that maybe someone realized I was missing because I heard a whistle It sounded human, but it did come from the direction that I heard the thing from. I didn't go towards it. I wanted to wait until I heard a voice or something. I turned my phone on and set the brightness to the lowest that it would go, so I could check where I was and where I needed to go to get back to. Even somewhere safe. Didn't have to be the campsite. But just my luck, service was out. And while yes, you can call emergency services without service, I know. I just wanted to wait more than a few minutes after getting lost to call for help. And I'm here without the help of it, so it worked out in the end. I turned my phone's flashlight back on, and I covered about half or more of the light with my finger to keep it dim, because I can't trust how much whatever was in the woods with me can see, while still keeping an eye on the direction the noises and whistle came from. I kept going in the direction that I had been heading before. As I walked, the footsteps that the animal... I hesitate to say animal. It didn't sound like any kind of animal that I have heard before. The footsteps it made never got any quieter, like it was walking with me. But it didn't get any louder either. It's like it just loomed around me. I was so scared in those moments that my flashlight was shaking so much. Maybe that's what was drawing it in. Hindsight is 20/20 right now. I was walking for 24 minutes. I know that since I saw the time when I turned my flashlight on, and I checked the time when I found my landmark. I discovered an old warehouse of sorts. Big garage doors that were wide open so I could just walk in. I wanted safety, and I thought that maybe if I went inside, I could find a room separate from the open warehouse and well, wait out the night, get some sleep, and then call for help. Power tools. What, am I gonna use a drill as a pillow and the tarp as a blanket? I amuse myself at least. Maybe this place was some woodworking building, not a storage place. Some kind of material working place. I don't know enough about that stuff to say it's wood. Could be metal. Can't even identify some of the things in here. Oh wow, talking to myself so soon. Going crazy already. At least it's comforting. Gonna explore other rooms. No footsteps from that thing. It whistled, and it sounded like it was right outside the garage door. So I ran inside of the door I just came out of, and I hid under a table. It walked past the door, unbearably slowly, and I think it left some time after. I stayed under that table for a long time. I was so scared to leave. I thought that the longer I was under it, the farther that the whatever would go. I waited. I don't know how long I waited, but by the time that I got out from under the table, it was quiet, besides the crickets. Maybe it's best if I do use a drill and tarp to sleep. I'm not dealing with that at night. I woke up the next morning, surprisingly, having been able to sleep, and got up. I checked my phone and saw I think it was 8 a.m., so I slept around 6 hours. My phone's battery was also getting really low, so I started conserving it, using it as little as possible. Not that I would need to use it. I was out of service, and I didn't need to use the flashlight anymore. I left the room I had slept in cautiously. I knew that it had been literally hours, but I was still scared, and even debating if this was even the right move, to go out and walk around. I knew that if you're lost, you should stay in one spot and wait for rescue, because that makes it easier to find you. But I was confident I could find my way out faster than rescue could come and find me. I'm here and alive, so it was obviously all right in the end, but it was definitely not the best choice to make. It worked out. When I left the warehouse, I didn't know where the hell to go. The way that I thought was back to the camp originally led me to a warehouse I've never seen before. So, it wasn't that way, but I'd be wasting time and energy if I covered ground that I've already been over. I just decided to keep going the way that I had, going to the other side of the warehouse to walk in the line I had been before I found the warehouse. So, I walked. Not much to say with that. I just began walking aimlessly. Oh, well, I had a goal to find a trail or some town, but aimlessly as in... You're smart. You get it. I wandered in a rough, straight line, and that worked out in my favor. I found a stream, and I remembered passing over a little creek, stream, I don't know, a small, flowing body of water. So I began following it upstream. If I was above the trail and bridge, then I would pop off to a lake or something, which is likely to be a landmark with trails off of it. Or I could just walk back and go the opposite way to the trail. If I was below the trail and bridge, then I would find the trail and be able to get back to the camp I got lost from. Foolproof, right? Is that the trail? Okay, and now, just to follow it to the camp. Not too far. That came from... Oh my god, it's still following me. No. When I started walking, I heard that whistle. The one I knew came from whatever was stalking me at this point. It was stalking me. It had known I was in the warehouse, waited for hours for me to come out, and then, I'm assuming, followed me before taunting me with that terrifying whistle. Sorry. I ran the opposite way. The way that would bring me to the town that the tour's main building is in. I wasn't going to be attacked going towards that thing or risk putting the other members of that tour in danger because of my stupid decisions. It was a split-second decision that I think saved my own and maybe, if the situation was right, a bunch of other lives. I ran for a while, surprisingly being able to remember what paths to turn down from the tour. I took a couple of walking breaks, but the adrenaline stayed for a lot longer than I thought it would, and I was able to run for a majority of it. Eventually, I made it to the entrance of the trail. When I turned to where I could see the building a few hundred feet from where the tree line of the trail began, I swapped to walking the rest. I felt comfortable walking the rest because I didn't hear anything from behind me, and I really hadn't the whole time I was running. While yes, I was walking now, I was still cautious. That thing had waited hours upon hours for me to leave that warehouse after seeing me enter. I wouldn't think it would stop chasing me because I had simply ran away from it. Just using common sense here. Walking was a relief, but also torture. My legs hurt so badly from running, and the slower movements made it easier to feel the pain I was in. Like I said, I work in an office. Walking slowly and carefully in high heels, so that much adrenaline and movement to run, basically for my life, was unusual for my body and hurt. When I began walking, something came to my attention. It was quiet. The forest, besides birds and trees, and the usually noisy town ahead of me. I didn't see any people. I didn't see any cars. I saw no movement besides the trees planted in the streets. I know the active spots of this town. I've been around long enough to know. It was odd, yes, but I didn't think anything was wrong. Why would I? Why would an empty, busy street mean that something was wrong for me? I just wanted to get home at this point. I didn't care about anything else. I had a rough night because of my own stupid actions. I picked my phone out of my pocket and opened up the phone app to call one of my friends to pick me up, Carme. I was not feeling up to walking miles all the way home. Ow! Ow! Oh, my alarm! Pay attention to this. heard the rustling and the whistle in the tree line beside me. I began running, seeing if I could outrun it. I knew that wouldn't work. I didn't know what this thing looked like, but I assumed that everything that lives in the wilderness is faster than me. My alarm clock noise is the sound of a mouse squeaking, because the high-pitched noise wakes me up well. So I set an alarm, timer for 2 seconds, and just chucked my phone into the forest and ran. I'm here. I'm alive, and so it worked. But I had to ask to use someone's phone to call an officer to come pick me up. I hope that all of that made sense. That was the fastest I have ever thought of a solution. I don't know how I thought to do that when I was so scared and adrenaline filled. I survived being hunted by a creature who I wasn't even able to see. It was so good at hunting things that it stayed out of my sight entirely. I hate that it toyed with me that whole time. Anytime I felt I had escaped, it whistled at me. It told me how close to danger I was. It made itself known. Why would a hunting animal do that? Wouldn't it want to stay silent to catch the prey? It was terrifying. Oh, yes, of course. I'm okay to answer questions. Hey guys, Scratch here. I loved this one. I loved this one so much. I think that the ending was a little bit iffy. The ending being whenever the speaker threw the phone. I think it was a little weird, and I'm not the most proud of that, but at the same time, just with the whole concept of this audio, I love it so much, which the concept is not mine. I want to say that the concept is not mine. Somebody else gave me this idea and I just made it a reality. I'm so happy with this, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed as well. But yeah. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. I love and chapter comments. And you made it this far, so why not subscribe? Join the Patreon and the Discord. And yeah. Bye bye.